Recently, I watched this podcast, Diary of the CEO, talk with Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, and he made a lot of breakthroughs in the realm of AI. That's why he's called the godfather, among other things. But he turned a new leaf, let's say. He's warning us about the possible risks of AI. I'd like to watch together a few of podcasts, discuss them.
We'd gotten to the autonomous weapons part of the risk framework.
Right. So the next one is joblessness.
Yeah.
In the past, new technologies have come in which didn't lead to joblessness. New jobs were created. So the classic example people use is automatic teller machines. When automatic teller machines came in, a lot of bank tellers didn't lose their jobs. They just got to do more interesting things. But here, I think this is more like when they got machines in the Industrial Revolution, and you can't have a job digging ditches now because a machine can dig ditches much better than you can. And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
This is a pretty interesting, because AI, well, in the beginning, it's going to speed up all the mundane tasks, whether that, I don't know, email summarization, sending emails, coding, calculating, anything, right? Creating software, so on, managing. But at some point, we are going to automate so much that I think there is a Fiverr CEO email leaked or shared in public. Says something along the lines of that the easy problems will no longer exist, and the hard problems will become easy problems, and then the impossible problems will become the new hard problems, and that's kind of how it's going. It looks like that's where we are headed, right? This thing is kind of unique, as he's saying, and I think it's going to be a very skilled laborer will be in extremely high demand, but entry-level laborers will not be, which is kind of scary, right? I started my career, let's say, it was much easier to get an entry-level job, but with AI, entry-level tasks are taken care of by AI, right? Automated and so on. So we will need less and less entry-level jobs. More people will get replaced, and I imagine the future will look like something like this. Let's say in case of IT, one engineer will be managing a lot of AI agents, creating the software. So it's going to be like managing AI in a way. That's a pretty scary thing if human being doesn't have that direction, right? For many people, me included, my career is a significant part of my life. So if I did a career now, let's say I won $10 million or however much money, and I no longer need to work. In the beginning, it would probably be awesome, but then I would need some passion project or some project that I could work on, either a family or a hobby or creating a company or something, right? That kind of drives me. Without jobs, like there is much less meaning. Like a lot of people pull meaning from the jobs and what the craft that they do. There's one more thing I'd like to discuss.
And is there a wealth inequality issue here that will arise from this?
I think in a society which shared out things fairly, if you get a big increase in productivity, everybody should be better off. But if you can replace lots of people by AIs, then the people who get replaced will be worse off, and the company that supplies the AIs will be much better off, and the company that uses the AIs. So it's going to increase the gap between rich and poor. And we know that if you look at that gap between rich and poor, that basically tells you how nice a society is. If you have a big gap, you get very nasty societies in which people live in walled communities and put other people in mass jails. It's not good to increase the gap between rich and poor.
So basically, yeah, it's just the rich and wealthy, let's say the Sam Altmans, the OpenAIs, and whatever companies, Elon, they own the companies that create the AI. They will have access to the latest models, latest agents, latest whatever, right? They can leverage their money also to the most extreme degree. Right? We're living in an era where coding is kind of a very good leverage, an amazing leverage. AI will be a greater leverage than that. So Geoffrey is trying to say that historically, when there is the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class of, let's say, in society, like broadly speaking, the idea historically is that as long as the middle class is healthy, meaning it's not squeezed out, let's say, like Gary would say, the lowest class cannot be the biggest in any society, because then riots happen. So as long as the middle class is healthy, meaning the wealth inequality is not as big, the country and the population can live in it. If the middle class is shrinking, usually what happens is the lowest class is growing much more rapidly, right? And then because the cost of living and cost of living, food, anything basically, right? It's getting harder and harder to live because the prices go up and the wages don't go up, but the wealthy earn the most anyway. Then usually riots happen, and in the past it led to redistribution of wealth. What will happen this time? I don't know. Yeah, I am a great believer in AI, let's say. I like the tech. It's gonna be incredible, but the points, the few we discussed, and among other things, that there are more that Geoffrey is mentioning. There's something to consider, and we should build AI in a way, although that will probably never happen, but we should build it in a way that builds in certain measures, like we are preparing for the effects that AI has on society, right? Why I'm saying that won't happen, because China probably will not will not stop at anything. So if, let's say, US uses regulations that hinder the let's say breakthroughs in AI, they lose the AI race, and then they lose the power that they would otherwise gain. So it's an interesting time that we're living in, be it tech-wise or what happens like war, politically and economically. So just some food for thought from Geoffrey Hinton. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.